course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them.
A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government.
Laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes.
And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government.
The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states.
To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world.
He has refused his assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good.
He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them.
He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable only to tyrants.
He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures.
He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people.
He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within.
He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands.
He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers.
He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries.
He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance.
He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures.
He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation.
For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us.
For protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states.
For cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent.
For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas, to be tried for pretended offenses,
for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies.
For taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments.
For suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever.
He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us.
He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people.
He is, at this time, transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation.
He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands.
He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions.
In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people.
Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us.
We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here.
We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity.
And we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence.
They, too, have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled,
appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare
that these united colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states.
That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown.
And that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved.
And that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce,
and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do.
And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
And welcome to Paul Revere Radio. This week is Rights Week. I've dubbed it that. Guys, the beard is back. We want to welcome back Brian for a second show.
Thank you.
Wanted to pay homage to the Declaration of Independence, guys. Our first and, as of yet, the greatest Declaration of Rights and standing for true natural law, the way that things ought to be in a real free society and not ruled by a dictator or a monarch. We're going to get into a bunch of things today. It's we got some things that are probably going to get a little heavy at times when we talk about how to deal with police, how to, obviously you always want to be respectful, and but there comes a point where you have to stand up for yourself and know your rights and basically not let them just trample on you and do illegal things to you. We're going to talk about what exactly is probable cause and what that actually means they can do. It's not as much as you might think. But first off, I want to start with something light, because you know what? I had some friends that were, in my mind, crazy enough to go out to Black Friday yesterday, early in the wee hours of the morning. And so I just wanted to go ahead and say, you guys are nuts. Absolutely freaking nuts. And Christy, if you're listening, I don't know what the heck you were thinking. Brian pulled up, they call it the Black Friday death count, and we're not quite sure whether this is a... you want to put that on screen, Kira? Yeah, I'm not quite sure whether this is the total for this year. Well, I do believe you're right.
Just doing the math on the all these years listed, that's what it adds up to.
Adds up to be.
Yeah, since
but guys,
2006.
You know, every Black Friday I'm taken back to the time when I was working at Walmart back in high school. I know. I couldn't stand it then. I couldn't do it now. I don't know how I did it then. But I was working in the electronics department, and I had to work that morning. And someone actually swung at me. And if you know me, I don't take very kindly to someone swinging at me. So I swung back and knocked him out, and nobody knew. Nobody saw it. They just trampled him. They were like a bunch of zombies. Nobody cared about anything. I couldn't believe it. You know, I thought I was going to get in trouble. No, nobody even knew. So, I mean, do you know anybody that actually was dumb enough to go out on Black Friday?
Previous years I have. I've known some that have camped out overnight and were with the zombie mob the next morning. The fact that there's any deaths is truly disgusting to me.
You know, let's see if I can find it. I had it here and I forgot to cue it.
There's tons of videos to choose from.
Okay.
All over the world too. Germany, Puerto Rico. There's one I saw.
Let's just see. I haven't seen this one yet. Kara, you want to bring up mine here? There's not going to be any sound to this. You'll just hear me talking over it. But I just want to see what's going on here. Oh, wait a minute. I've got to kill the sound on mine because that's going to sound horrible to you guys. So there we go. I mean, these kind of mobs, who in the world would want to be there?
And these are just at Walmarts.
I don't get it.
They're not even at high-end electronics stores. They're fighting
it's
over
the junk,
piece
Chinese
of
crap.
Junk TV, 32-inch TVs. Is this the one?
I have no idea. I don't know what they're fighting over. Quite honestly, I don't care. I think that
there's a video of a mob around a bin of Xbox games. And they're just grabbing. Well, they're grabbing at them, and they're pulling out two at a time or so. And then you see them walking away from the crowd after they've gotten their Xbox games, and then they're looking at it. So they're not even sure what they're picking up at the time. You know, and you can come off this now, Kara. I mean, I just wanted to show the craziness. And you know what really gets me about Black Friday, and you know what, I'm all for capitalism. I have no problem with capitalism, obviously. But what?
Ustreamer asked if you picked him back up.
Oh no, I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't. I was about overrun myself. No, what really kills me about Black Friday, and you know, you see it on Facebook all the time, and it's so true. You know, we spend a day being thankful before we go out and mob everybody to buy more crap.
Stuff we don't need.
Yeah.
Or anyone needs, really.
Yeah. So
I saw there's actually a video of a mob of hundreds of people around one of the bins, and you find out later in the video that it's Tupperware.
Really?
No, really.
They're fighting over Tupperware?
And viciously fighting over it, too.
See, this is the problem I have. You know, I understand it's a Friday. They call it Black Friday because everybody, you know, all the stores and move from the red to the black. And great, whatever. But at what point do we just admit that we've lost our humanity? We don't care about the person that we're pummeling and probably hurting to get this, you know, junk that, you know, every year I see the same stories. Oh, guess what? The sales weren't real. They jacked up the prices and then dropped the prices again.
There's actually another video I saw. It was a fight at the Franklin Mills Mall. Now I'm from New Jersey, so I'm not far off from there. I've probably been to that mall 100
Isn't
times.
that the one with the stun gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They two men got into a fight. Then their girlfriends got into a fight, and their kids were there, by the way. And
they started trying to stun gun each other.
Yeah, you hear the crack of the stun guns.
And you can see the glow on there. It's just, it's nuts. Guys,
to tase someone over junk, that there is no humanity, none.
No. And see, this is part of the problem that I have. And actually, I know it seems like it's off topic, but it's really not. Because if we're going to stand up for human rights, if we're going to stand up for constitutional rights, for natural rights, if we're going to get this country back, first thing we have to do is get back our humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Things like this, guys, has got to stop. If you go and you get the deals, but you're not trampling people and you're actually a human being in the process, that's one thing. But quite honestly, I don't care what they're selling and I don't care how cheap it is. I'm not going to subject myself to that. That's absurd.
Especially when the prices aren't that much less than they are the rest of the year. Because they jack the prices up right before the holiday season, and then for one day, they'll lower the prices back down to what they were selling them for in July.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I mean, guys, you can get it so much cheaper than Black Friday sales on the internet, and you don't have to deal with that crap. I mean, come on.
Right.
Personally, I think that if you want to take part in something like this, then do it at local stores. They got that Small Business Saturday, which is actually today. That's what I would do, because at least then you're actually helping the economy and not multinational corporations that take all the money offshore anyway, and it doesn't help the U.S. economy near as much as it would if it was a local business, someone that actually does something here locally, gives people jobs here locally, and keeps,
You see so many people up in arms about keeping jobs in America when and then they mob the
Chinese goods.
Yeah, the corporate whore corporations that ship all the jobs overseas. I mean, I don't know if there's anything American made at Walmart.
I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, I'm sure there is somewhere in that store. I mean,
maybe,
but it'd be hell to find it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point. If you want jobs here, you've got to, number one, you got to buy American. And number two,
support local businesses.
Sorry guys, for some reason I got a frog in my throat. The biggest thing you can do to help this country right now is get out of Walmart, get out of Target. Target is French run. Walmart is kind of quasi an American company. Their headquarters is here, but guys, 90% of what they take in is in foreign banks, so they don't have to pay taxes on it. Walmart pays next to nothing in taxes. And, I know certain people will be up in arms about that. Oh, no, you're wrong. No, I'm right. Just look at it. Do your homework. They pay almost nothing in taxes. They keep everything offshore. That's why most of the stuff they buy is offshore. They don't even have to repatriate the funds to buy something.
You want to go to a big box store? I heard Costco actually pays their employees well.
They might. I don't know.
That's what I've heard.
I don't know. Big box stores are one thing. When it comes down to it, there's some things that you have to go to a big box store for, and anymore it's getting harder and harder and harder to shop locally. I mean, when was the last time you were able to buy clothes at a local shop? And that's the problem. That's what these big stores do, is they come in, they undercut everybody because they're offshoring everything.
Mm-hmm.
They've got, the only overhead they've got is their building, and, so everything goes offshore. They're not paying hardly anything in taxes.
I don't think I've bought clothes at a Walmart in a long time.
Yeah, I try not to.
Yeah.
But, if you're not buying them at Walmart, you buy them at Target or the mall or something like that, and it's all the same deal.
Yeah.
All the clothes, I mean, I don't think, and it's not for lack of trying, but I don't think I own anything made in America clothes-wise.
Where's Columbia made?
I have no idea. I don't have anything Columbia. It's too expensive for me.
And
that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. We can't, because our tax structure has gotten so out of whack.
And regulations.
And regulations are so out of whack. It's so expensive to buy here in this country. And I understand this, and that's why I'm not...
It's almost impossible to produce here and make a profit.
Almost. And this is going to bring us into one of the big things that I wanted to talk about today. And guys, if you don't have one, I harp on it all the time. Let me know. The Pocket Constitution. This one's excellent. The Citizens Rule Book. It's got a lot. Explains a lot more than just the Constitution.
You want to hear something terroristic?
What?
When I graduated 6th grade, my elementary school with our diploma gave a full version of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and Bill of Rights. I must have gone to a terrorist training camp.
You must have.
Yeah.
Wow.
I still have that, hardbound and everything. It's very nice too.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for that school.
I can't believe, and when I go to other schools, they don't even teach that, let alone give you a copy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The last time I was in school, obviously my senior year, the Constitution was basically a dirty word. They didn't teach that. American history was so corrupt that even in school I could tell. Of course, I was even then more educated than most of my peers because I read. God forbid you actually open a book. But I want to go over the tax structure because it fits right in with Black Friday.
Yeah.
And I want to. There's something that's got to be done here, guys, and it's far more than a fair tax, far more than a flat tax.
That would be a good start.
That would be a start. But the problem is...
That would probably fix a lot.
It may. But the problem is we have to first understand that the tax structure as it sits right now is completely illegal. And this may... it may surprise you, but the 16th Amendment is the one that gives us our income tax, was never ratified, never properly ratified by the states. How it's included... It's a long story, but it's not legal. On top of that, the 16th Amendment does not even give the government the right to tax you. The government gives income to is allowed under the 16th Amendment to tax corporations that deal mainly overseas, that are based here but deal mainly overseas. It allows for taxing of individuals that are paid and work overseas if they're American citizens. It does not allow for individual taxation here in America. None whatsoever. And if you read it, you might get confused because all it says is sources. The main thing there is you've got to read the rest of the Constitution. The word sources is a defined word in the Constitution. And it's defined fairly broadly, but individual American citizens is not defined in the Constitution as a source for taxation. There are ways for the government to tax, but it's not direct taxation. It's taxing of the states, and then the states then have the authority to tax the individuals, but not the federal government. The reason that we have the 16th Amendment, guys, is very simple, and goes back to 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act, and I know you know this. It almost works out like a soap opera, guys. It's an entertaining read. If you ever get the chance, you should read. I forget the author. Do you know the author of The Creature from Jekyll Island?
Oh,
it's an amazing book. I should look it up. But
please.
Yeah, Carrie, you want to look that up for me? Basically, what happened, guys? The quick and dirty of it. J.P. Morgan and a bunch of the international bankers got together and they figured out, you know what, we've tried this twice before, and our central banks get kicked out because the American people get wise to it. So they get together with the Rothschilds and they say, you know what, we'll do it this way. We'll call it the Federal Reserve, and then people will think it's federal. And it freaking worked. We got duped. People thought it was part of the government. It is not. It is a private organization. The only thing that the federal government has anything to do with is appointing. Thank you, Kara. Yep. The only thing that the federal government can do is appoint the chairman of the Fed, and even then he has a choice of 3 people. And guys, it's not real hard to imagine that the Fed goes, you know what, we control the money supply, and therefore here's your 3 choices. Pick this guy or else. It's not a real stretch.
You also have to note that none of the income tax revenue
I'm getting there. I was getting there.
Yeah.
I was getting there. So basically, guys, how they passed it, because they knew it wouldn't pass in a General Assembly. It wouldn't pass the Senate if it was done right. So they did what's called a fast track. And they met on December 23rd when everybody else was out on Christmas vacation. And they passed it without anybody realizing it, because it passed by a majority of those present, not a majority of the full Senate. And we got the Federal Reserve Act. Now, the Federal Reserve, obviously, it's December 23rd. It's coming up next month, the 100-year anniversary. And people think they have a 100-year charter. It's not exactly true. The charter is actually indefinite at this point. They do not have to re-up it.
100 years without an audit or oversight
Oh,
whatsoever.
Yeah, even the President of the United States is not allowed in that building.
You think they have one of them signs on the wall?
What?
Kind of like the accident signs, this many days without an accident.
This many days without an audit.
Yeah.
You know, I
total secrecy for this many days.
It's amazing how ridiculous this whole thing is.
It is. It's laughable.
Yeah. So, guys, this is where people say, "Oh, you're a tinfoil hat wearer." Well, conspiracy is the story of history, and this is real. This is real mainline history. This is not something made up. This is something that you can go and look at any credible history book and read about. The book that I quoted there, or that I mentioned there, was The Creature from Jekyll Island by Edward Griffin. That is a wonderful book. Of course, I'm not selling it, so I'm not trying to get any funds from it. But I'm telling you, if you want to learn the real history of the Federal Reserve, which is actually the history also of the IRS, which he was saying earlier, that's a great place to start. Where this leads into taxation is, as he said...
Should show that if you want a good deal on that book.
Well, what site is that?
This is Midas Resources.
Midas Resources?
Yeah, it's a very good gold and silver resource. They actually have a deal. They've had this for years, too. They have a deal.
$41 and you get a silver dollar with it.
Yep, you get
wow.
You get a silver dollar with the Creature from Jekyll Island.
I think they call that a loss leader. But I do know that company. I've used them before. That's a great company. But yeah, their loss leaders are great, and they don't try to pressure you into buying anything else.
They don't take your social like most
Yeah.
gold processing sites do.
So, and again, guys, we don't have any sponsors, so you don't have to worry about that. This is stuff we actually have used. So, pointing you in the right direction there. But yeah, they sell that book, and they give you a free. I didn't actually buy that from there. I wish I would have, because I've been it. But
that's where I got mine.
Yeah, they give you a free silver dollar with it. It looks like. So, but yeah, the IRS was brought into being at the same time, because the IRS is actually not part of the federal government either, and that's a real shock to most people. The IRS is nothing but a collection arm for the Federal Reserve. Your income tax does not fund the federal government. Not one penny of it goes to the federal government. Your income tax goes to fund the Federal Reserve and pay interest on the debt. The debt comes straight from our currency. When they print currency, we now owe it back to them with interest. And therefore, it is physically impossible to pay off the national debt, because there's not enough money in the world, because every time we print money, we gain more debt.
We've been making minimum payments forever.
Oh, that's because that's the only thing you can make is minimum payments. Again, it's mathematically impossible to pay this off. If
debt
you want to
based
fix
on debt.
Yeah. If you want to fix the national debt, guys, if you want to, it's very simple. And I don't want to oversimplify it, but it's not really much more complicated than this. You want to fix the national debt, the first thing you have to do is audit the Fed. Then once people realize that what I'm saying here is actually 100% accurate, they'll call for abolishing the Fed. And what would happen at that point is we would absorb the powers and the authority of the Federal Reserve into the Treasury, and with it, the Treasury would now be owed the debt. So in other words, we would owe the vast majority of this national debt to ourselves. Of course, then it's meaningless. What's that?
Another good
yeah,
way.
Kara, put this up, because this goes right along with it. As we do this, you got it. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and tell them about that.
Well, it's good to read up on the Iceland model, because somewhat recently,
Jail
last
the
year,
rat bastards.
Yeah, last year they basically cleaned house. They arrested their corrupt government servants, and then arrested all the Rothschild bankers. which is exactly what we need to do. And basically, they've been booming since.
Yeah, once you get rid of the bank itself, the next thing you got to do is jail the bankers. That's exactly right. Unfortunately, excuse me, good Lord. Unfortunately, they didn't get them all, obviously, because this is an international deal. In fact, these same guys own every single central bank in the world. Okay, it's the same people. So you arrest all of them that are in your country, obviously, and then you keep them out somehow. You know, ultimately, if we want to really get rid of this problem, we got to get them all.
Yeah, the revolution has to be worldwide.
Yeah,
because it's everywhere. It's not just here. This is
that's
just
why
the last line.
That's why you will never. You know, I see people ask me all the time. You know, well, where should I move? There's nowhere to go.
No,
there's nowhere to go. This is a worldwide disaster, monetary disaster.
Antarctica.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to grow food down there.
Well, they got the seeds down there.
Yeah, they got the seeds, but
yeah.
You know,
What is that? Gates put a seed bank and DNA bank down in
Yeah.
Antarctica in the Arctic.
yeah, they're all crazy. They're all insane. So, yeah, that goes back to GMO foods, and that's a whole nother topic. And we could go for days on that. So, so yeah, guys, the first step is understanding the problem. If you want to stand for your rights, you have to know your rights, which we're going to get into in a minute. But the real first step is understanding the problem. And if you really want to understand what can be done, obviously I'm not calling for violence here, guys, so get it straight. But really, go take a second look at V for Vendetta.
We can't be the violent ones because you look at what happens at Black Friday. You're the violent one. You're no longer connected with any sense of humanity.
That's right.
And if you
well,
want,
not only
if you
that,
want,
you have to have the moral high ground. I
right.
mean,
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you want to be recognized for your human rights, you have to show some sort of humanity.
That's right. You know, it's the same thing that happened on Lexington Green. You know, you can't fire first.
Right.
You know, a lot of historians a lot of history teachers like to tell you that we fired first. It's not how it happened, guys. The British fired first. And I still hold that's why we won that war. It's because we had the moral high ground. We stood our ground, but we were not the ones who drew first blood.
No, you're morally correct in defending yourself.
That's right.
Always.
That's right.
It's a human right, not a right given by lawmakers. You are entitled to defend yourself, no matter what.
Absolutely. Somebody breaks into your house, I don't care if your state has castle doctrine or not. Of course, there will be repercussions for standing on this right, but if someone breaks in your house and puts a gun to your head, you have every right to blow them away.
Well, that's when you also need to bring in jury nullification.
Well, that's absolutely right. And that's another one we're going to talk about, and that's another one that's in this book. That's why I push this book, is jury nullification, guys. Little pamphlet. It's like $3 on Amazon, so check it out. Or if you're close enough, just see me and I'll give you one.
Buy them in bulk. They're $1 a piece at most.
Yeah. They're dirt cheap. Hand them out. So we're going to get into jury nullification here in a little bit. In fact, I thought maybe we would just go down the Bill of Rights and just go step by step.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Okay.
If we got to do overdrive, we'll do overdrive. We spent 10 minutes paying homage to the Declaration of Independence. So let's go ahead and start with what we're doing right now. We're going to start with the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion. Guys, this is what we're doing. We're speaking out. You want to shut us up? Well, go to hell. It's not going to happen. Nobody's listening? Who cares? I'm still going to scream. Okay, it's my right. First Amendment. It's why we keep one of these. This thing is amazing. I love these things. They're so much fun. And you know what? They piss off people. It's great. If you ever need to get somebody's attention, if you're at a rally, you want to be the one with the bullhorn, let me tell you.
You know, and they're so cheap.
Yeah, like $40.
Tops.
Yeah.
Get one.
Yeah. In fact,
the batteries are more expensive than the thing itself.
Yeah.
Get them.
Yeah, we're gonna have that down. We're gonna talk about it a little bit later on the 14th. You've seen it on Facebook and everything. The local branch of Anonymous is doing the.
In case you're reading along, it's page 24.
Yeah, I don't.
In your Citizens Rulebook.
Yeah. So but we're gonna be down there at with Anonymous on the 14th, 2 weeks from today. Of course, Chris and Ricky will be back in studio, so they'll be here, and I'll be Skyping in from there. So we're doing the Operation Safe Winter, collecting clothes for homeless people, and then we will hand them out after the event to homeless people. I think we're actually going to a homeless camp. I don't think so. I think we're doing it. I know, right?
Terrorist.
I know, right? Not giving it to Goodwill so we can pocket them.
Did you see the news story? Oh, you know what? Let me find that before I open my mouth.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a news story. There was a news story about people got arrested at a park for giving food to homeless.
You know, I saw that,
Yeah.
and on Fort Myers Beach here in Southwest Florida, it's actually illegal to feed the homeless on Fort Myers Beach.
You know what? Arrest me.
That's right. That's right. And I'll be down there sooner or later. And you know what? Go ahead and arrest me. As far as I'm concerned, it's...
Yeah, here it is. ABC News.
Go ahead and pull it up. Kara, pull up his screen, would you? There you go.
This was August 26th, but this was an older one, but not the one I wanted, but it's the same thing.
And you got a video there? It's not.
No, it's
that's just an advertisement.
Yeah, it's
okay.
just an advertisement. I'm sure they have a story, but
We are
basically-
teleprompter free, folks. We're not like Obama. We fly by the seat of our pants here. So
basically, the gist of it is a North Carolina group was feeding the homeless breakfast sandwiches, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they were the GMO McDonald's sandwich. Hopefully not, but
hopefully not. But at
yeah.
the same time, either way, you know, when you're starving, I'll take GMO if I'm starving.
Right.
You know.
But yeah, the gist of it is that they were threatened to be arrested, and they were kicked out of the parks. I'm sure along with the homeless people there, but they were just feeding them. You know, helping out your fellow man.
You know,
can you imagine? Imagine the mindset of a cop following that order to arrest someone for feeding a starving person.
That's what I don't understand. And here, you guys, we've got to get to know the police force. We absolutely have to, because what kind of cop does it take to do? You know, the video I showed last week. I don't have it queued up, or I'd play it again. You know, we're talking about the First Amendment, and we're going to read it here shortly. But it was a protest for the First Amendment, standing up for the First Amendment. And of course, the average cop that was there before the DHS officer showed up, and I was able to confirm that was DHS. It was actually the sheriff's department, the local sheriff's department, under orders from DHS. Came in and didn't even tell them anything, just literally started punching them and pushing them and, you know, moving them off. What kind of cop takes that order? You got to get to know your police department, guys. You absolutely have to. It's crucial. If they're the if they're the type that's going to take that order, find out and make sure they know that if they push it too far and something unspeakable does happen, well, it's not going to be a ride in the park for them. But also find out who the good ones are. Find out who the ones are that actually stand with the Constitution, and the ones that are going to be willing to say, you know what, this is wrong, and I'm not going to do it. Because, again, God forbid something does happen, you want to make sure they're on the right side of history.
Best way to do this, too, don't go out with one or two people. Strengthen numbers. Bring as
Absolutely.
many people as you possibly can, because saying that they can't arrest us all, that is true.
Oh, that's
the
right.
more
They
people
can't.
you have, the better.
And
Because they're
for
not.
God's sake, keep the cameras rolling.
Right.
And if you don't know how to do Ustream, then let me know. I'll send you a link.
Well, keep
I mean,
your
it's
cell
super
phone.
simple.
Keep your cell phone camcorder.
You can broadcast on Ustream right from your phone.
Right. Well, no. Even if you don't know how to broadcast, keep your camcorder on your phone on speed dial. One touch, record,
Yeah.
and you're done. And all you do is hold that in their face. And even if they take 5 or 6 cell phones from the people, there'll be 10 more to back them up if you keep your numbers high. You know,
That's right.
organize it. Organize. Don't just go out with 1 or 2 people, because they will bully you.
I'm going to get into that again. You know, let's go ahead and read this. You got it. You got it up. Go ahead and read the First Amendment.
First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Okay. Short, sweet, and to the point. Doesn't say anything about what we're not allowed to do, because it's not supposed to. It's basically saying Congress can't do something. Understand this, when you're reading the Constitution does not limit your rights. It limits the power of the government. That's pretty much what the current administration doesn't like about it. They've come out and said so many times it's a list of negative liberties. Well, absolutely it is when you're looking at it from the government's perspective. When you're looking at it from the people's perspective, it's a list of things that the government's not allowed to do to me. Actually, it's a list of things that the government can do in reality, which is a much shorter list. Getting back to the police, guys, where this comes in, you have every right to record the police. They will yell at you. They will try to take your camera. They will tell you it's illegal. They've done it to me. Keep that camera rolling no matter what. There is no reasonable expectation of privacy on the street. They can videotape me. I can videotape them, and that goes for you too. If you're at a protest and cops, even if the cops are being nice, which a lot of times they are. In fact, more often than not, I've had good response from the police, but videotape that as well because you want to promote that. You want to show people, look, this is how police are supposed to act. You want to praise those cops. Go ahead.
You have to clarify a little bit, though. They are allowed to videotape us, but not with these red light cameras and surveillance system.
Actually, in public, they can. They can videotape. No, listen. They can videotape. The problem is with the red light cameras is it's not admissible in court.
Well, that's my point. They use that.
Well, yeah. But if you've noticed, I mean, I've gone through a red light camera down in Naples. I went through one, and I got the thing in the mail, and I showed up because I contested it, and I walked in there, and I honestly thought I was going to lose because everybody's saying, "Oh, it won't work, it won't work, it won't work." This was, if you remember, it was years ago that the Naples had them. Mm-hmm. So I go to court, and I'm like, well, I want to meet my accuser. I want to stand in front of my accuser. And of course they can't go get the camera because the camera can't talk to me.
It's as simple
as that.
And
so they bring in the officer that reviewed the tape, and I asked, well, were you there at that corner? No. Well, then you cannot, you did not issue this citation. You might have signed off on it, but you were not there. You do not know what happened. Guys, a camera is not an authority figure, and when you get right down to it, neither are the cops. They are public servants. They only have their authority because, and yeah, that's right, past 8 administrations, you're absolutely right. It actually goes back a little further than that, but I don't know who that is. You mind typing in your name there? Oh, that's Richard. Okay. Very good. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. But this current administration has gone over and above.
You also have the second half of this, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
The free exercise thereof, and then, or the abridging the freedom of speech or of the press.
Yep, which is what we're here right now.
Right. Or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. I cannot speak. Wow.
Okay, so let's interpret that. First of all, they don't have the right to tell us we're not allowed to be there. Right. Public ground, we're there. Unless we're throwing, sticks and stones and getting riled up. If we're peaceful, if all you're doing is speaking out, you have every right to be there, and they do not have the right to. Now, if you're on private property, that's different. Private property rights, the owner's rights trump yours on his private property. Absolutely. He can tell you to leave. That also, unfortunately, is for corporations too, as much as I don't like the fact that they look at corporations as people. As of now, they do, and therefore, that's how it works. And even then, it's still private property, so private property rights. Yeah. Private property rights trump this because your rights basically extend to the point where they start to infringe on someone else's. So as long as you're on the street and you're not blocking traffic, on the sidewalk, you're fine. They cannot tell you to leave. Well, they can tell you to leave, but you don't have to. Now, and guys, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm talking about this because I've got something planned in the weeks to come.
That's another thing. Keep one of these with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
it's very frustrating for police that don't know what they're talking about when you can actually show them.
Right here.
And I've had it before. Well, I'll print out a local ordinance or a law, and I'll show it to them, and they don't care.
No.
But
I am the law.
When you have that on videotape, it's damning. I'll just say that much. So there's a reason I have a clean record still, guys, because I know what I'm talking about. If you do it right, you won't. You might go to jail. You don't necessarily beat the ride.
Oh yeah,
you'll go to jail, but you'll beat the rap every single time if you know what your rights are, and you stand on them, and you don't go over the line.
Yeah, Jack Tanner
Quick and
is
simple.
Living proof of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I think you are too, aren't you? Haven't you had some close calls?
Well, that was the closest. They threatened to arrest me, but they didn't. They ended up arresting Jack because he didn't go to the side like the rest of us. He told us to go to the side, and we were protesting. Well, actually, we weren't even protesting. We were doing a rally in front of the gun show for the Second Amendment, in favor of the Second Amendment, in front of a gun show. And because our candidate of choice didn't match the candidate that bought a table at the gun show, they called the sheriff's department out on us and said that we couldn't be there. Now, we were on public property. We weren't blocking traffic. We weren't causing a big ruckus. We weren't blocking any views. But they ended up arresting a 76-year-old man and charging him with resisting arrest.
Yeah, I like this, how they beat the living crap out of you and keep saying as they're beating you, quit resisting, quit resisting.
Well, they didn't beat him, but
well, I know that.
We have it on camera that there was no resisting whatsoever.
Yeah.
But Jack had been the sacrificial lamb and told us to go to the side, and he'll go and to jail that time. So that was the closest. That was one of the closest.
Yeah, I understand it didn't happen there, but I mean, just look it up, guys. Again, I tend to we are teleprompter free, so things come up that we weren't ready for, and there's just Google it. There's hundreds of videos out there of police arresting someone, and it's quite comical as they're beating the living hell out of them, and the guy's literally on the ground crying most of the time. Stop resisting, as if,
blocking yourself from being beaten to death is resisting.
Yeah, if you pick up your arms to block the punch,
you're resisting his punch.
Yeah. So, and again, it's not all cops, and this is why I say always, no matter what, when you interact with the cops, record it, because whether it's good or bad, we need to promote the good and demonize the bad.
And don't start off with an attitude like that's a bad cop, because there are a lot of cops that are not bad.
I would say most of them, the vast majority
are not bad cops. You do get a few, but don't go up with an attitude, because that's the thing about the YouTube videos all over the place. Okay, some of these guys actually provoke the police, and they might be good police, but they go up to them with an attitude that they're going to start something, and that just makes us look bad.
Well, it does. Now, I will say this.
That gives our legitimate cause a bad name.
It absolutely does. Now, on top of that, though, I would say that just because the guy did something stupid doesn't necessarily mean that he should have the living hell kicked out of him.
No, but I'm just saying, don't go up with the attitude that
don't provoke
guy,
it.
right.
Obviously, yeah. You don't ever want to provoke.
There's
violence.
no reason for that. That's immature. And you lose the moral high ground at that point.
Yeah. Even if you're in the right, if you provoke it, you're not going to get real far. Even in my eyes, I'm not going to back you if you're a stupid moron. Okay. Moving on.
Second Amendment.
Yep. Second Amendment. Go ahead.
This is the amendment that gives all other amendments teeth.
That's right.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Okay, this one is very short, very to the point, and very
simple.
Misunderstood. And it's amazing how many people think they're an expert on that simple paragraph. Now,
you got maybe a couple dozen words here, and it's so misconstrued.
Well, and here's why. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's the part that everybody quotes. But there is that first part, and this first part is what's misunderstood. Yeah. Okay? A well-regulated militia. This is the part that's misunderstood, guys.
We talked about that the week before last.
Yeah, and here's the deal. I talked about it last week at I was at an event speaking with some people, and this came up. And I was talking to a guy, and he's a very nice guy. We got along great. But, and I'll quote, he says that Obama is too far right. Now, okay, so that tells you what kind of people I'm dealing with. All right. Now, again, nice guy. I really enjoyed the conversation. It was one of those uber libs that you could actually have a debate with and still be friends. very, very rare to find that. So I'll say that. But here's the deal, guys. If you know your history, if you read, when a Christian reads the Bible, they read the Bible in the language, they have to understand the language as it was used back in that day. Well, the same thing happens with the Constitution. A well-regulated militia is not a state-regulated militia. It's not a federal government-regulated militia. Well-regulated was a term used in the day. It simply meant that you were good at what you were doing. If you can put lead on target, you were well-regulated. You were good at that. What is a militia? A militia is the totality of the able-bodied men, and at this point, you might as well say women, because they'll get irritated if you say not. Somehow, they don't like being protected by men. That's fine. No problem with that. You do your thing. I'm sorry, but I'm still going to get irritated if somebody swings on you. Just saying.
When you had,
but
when you had the militia, that was basically every able-bodied man and their son.
Yeah.
And the reason for it being that way was because when you have every man and their son...
Well, men were actually men back then, too.
Well,
so.
risking their lives and possibly dying, somebody's got to repopulate.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, men can't do it.
No.
No. It's not possible.
No.
So that was the women's role back then when you had a total country in war.
Well, not only that, but I think that's
not sexist. That's reality.
There's a lot of things that aren't sexist, and I don't know how we got into this, but I'll go there. Okay, there's a lot of things that aren't sexist, and protecting women and expecting women not to go into frontline combat and things like that. There's reasons for that. Number one, inherently men are protective of women. Right. Okay, if you've got a woman on the front line and she's in trouble, you're going to have the vast majority of those guys looking out to try to save her rather than the mission. It's not going to be that way necessarily with a man.
It's animal instinct.
It is.
It's not even. It's not even
because
chivalrous.
It's a simple. It's a simple fact that most, not all, but most women are simply not as physically strong as men. Their bodies are built differently, and therefore men are better suited to this. Now, I don't know how we got into this.
Now, physically strong, but I will say this: women can. Their bodies are meant to take a much bigger beating.
Oh yeah. Than
men's bodies.
Well, I would agree. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to try to poop out a watermelon.
But the thing here, and I'll, you know what? I'll save you any debates. And if any women disagree with me, debate with me. Find me on Facebook and debate with me.
Or just get in the chat. That's fine.
Yeah, you won't win on this debate because it's just how humans are built.
Yeah. Well, and you know what it comes down to as well, men get into this rage that women can get into, but it's different.
Berserker.
Oh, we do. We really do. Kill, kill, kill. We will do that if we believe in the cause.
Yeah.
And women are nurturing. And it's not sexist. It's normal.
Right.
It's normal.
There's stories of women that have gone through a car crash and completely banged up and came out fine.
Yeah.
Because physically they can take a pounding more than a man can.
And when it comes down to it, it's because a woman's more important to the reproductive system than a man. So if you really want to call me sexist for this, guys, that's fine. I don't care. But when it comes down to it, I'm saying you're tougher than me and you're more important than me. And that's why I'm able to... that's why I get irritated when someone picks on a woman, is because naturally I know that you're more important than me, and that's just it's almost a quote unquote evolutionary memory. Go ahead. What is that?
Well, women that will kill for children, that just extends.
That's right.
That's what women are made for.
Yeah, because they're the future.
Right. They're made to protect.
Daddy goes out.
Their offspring.
Daddy goes out and kills dinner and brings it home, and Mama stays home and protects the kids.
Right.
That's where it would work.
And that's with any animal. Any animal.
But let's get back. You know what? I don't know. See, this is what I'm talking about. Is teleprompter free? How the hell did I get sidetracked?
Well, no. It's a good
point. It's an important topic.
Yeah, it's a good point where they misconstrue the Constitution and say that women should be on front lines fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq.
There's a reason that that not once has any country ever done that.
No.
Not once.
Well,
And-
Israel, I think. They're close. They're
They're-
about
yeah,
as
they
close
haven't
as
done
we
it
are.
yet. They
No,
haven't-
but they're
yeah.
almost as close as we are to doing it.
Yeah, and it's national suicide when it comes to the military, and this is why, you know what, Kara, hand me that book right there, would you?
Especially when you have a service in other countries that makes it mandatory to serve.
Mhm.
Because they'll send every man off to war, and what if they get wiped out?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well,
if they
that's
don't
right.
have the women back home, their population is destroyed.
And this right here, guys, I don't know, most of you probably have
It's
no
in-
idea
it's
what
in
this
there.
is.
It's in there.
There's a reason. This is Sun Tzu's Art of War. Guys, I love this book.
You can get it. You can actually get this on Kindle,
Yeah.
I believe, for free.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
free.
This
No,
book,
it's
this
a
book
free
is like
download
this
on
book is
Nook or
older than the
something.
Bible. I think this book is close to 3,000 years old.
I believe I have it on my iPod. It's a free download now.
Now, if you read this, the reason I like it so much, I love the history of war.
Yeah.
I love the history of military history, strategy. Chess is one of my favorite games. I love it. Go. I love Go. That is a great game, and most people probably don't know what it is.
I have no idea.
But yeah, it actually is.
Shaking her head now.
Yeah, most people don't, but Go is basically chess on steroids. But
You got Dune and StarCraft if you want a younger crowd.
what?
You got StarCraft. Dune is a little older, yeah.
I know Dune. I know the movie Dune. I've never seen it, but I know it.
StarCraft and Warcraft, all the. Never mind.
I'm sorry. So
See, he says go. I say something that people might recognize as far as a name, and you don't recognize it.
well, and here's the problem. I'm a student of history, not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian's our current nerd. I've heard of StarCraft.
No, you haven't.
No,
You're
no. I'm
just
saying
it now.
I'm not. I'm saying I've heard of Warcraft.
Well, they used to be games where it was third person. You just control
Okay.
one army. And another army
Anyway,
and
back on
boom.
topic. Go. We are really getting
Command
off
and
topic.
Conquer. Can you give me that?
Yes.
There you go.
The
Same-
computer game
same
Command and
games.
Conquer.
Same
yeah,
games.
Okay.
All right.
I actually tried that once, and I was actually really good at it, but I
Right.
found it boring.
Well,
It was too easy.
they got harder.
You couldn't hold my attention. What are you over there laughing about? She's over there.
This is the conversation,
dying.
I imagine.
Turn your mic on and tell people. Yeah, Carrie's got a mic now. What are you dying laughing about?
The two of you cannot stay on subject for anything.
It's all good.
You get off subject about getting off subject.
It's good. Yeah, whatever. Okay, where were we?
I dare anyone to tell us this is not educational.
You were on the Second Amendment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Amendment.
Back to the
all
I
ties
remember.
in.
Okay, we'll get back to. We're going to work our way back because we're going to go back to women in frontline combat
This all
and
ties
back to Art of War. And
Okay.
Art of War actually directly speaks against it because of what I said earlier
Yeah.
about men protecting women,
Right.
detrimental to the mission. It has
Exactly.
nothing. It does not mean that women can't do it.
Right.
It means that men can't handle the idea of a woman being blown to pieces.
Right.
So, all right, go. Where were we? I've gotten myself so
We
off
just
track.
finished the second.
We
Well,
just-
we didn't
no?
finish the second.
Did we finish?
Amendment?
I don't think. Did we finish the Second Amendment, Kara?
Yeah. No. Probably.
You vaguely finished the Second Amendment.
Did we?
Right to bear arms.
Right to bear arms. Yeah, we went in and we talked about that. Everybody. Yeah,
Citizens
guys.
are the
Oh
militia.
no, we didn't because there is something that I really want to say about the Second Amendment. Okay. There is no qualifier there.
No.
No qualifier.
No.
Now, this is where it gets sticky because, they didn't know about nuclear weapons.
Well,
but I think that's easy to deal with because who in the hell needs a...
It's not the right to keep and bear arms if...
No. It's the right to keep and bear arms,
Period.
period. So, in other words, they don't have the right to say, well, you don't need these assault weapons. Well, first of all, they're not assault weapons. You know what? If I take this pen and stab you with it, I assaulted you with a pen and the pen is now an assault weapon. Okay?
Don't do that.
I wouldn't. No. So
and who are they to say?
Well, the argument that I always get is, basically the argument. Well, my argument is that this clearly says And the intent, if you read the writings of the founder outside the Constitution, read the writings of the founders themselves, they clearly say that, number one, the chiefest goal is to make sure that every able-bodied man has a rifle and knows how to use it, and that it is meant for military weapons in the hands of the public.
Well, and the Constitution was written to avoid a future monarchy.
That's right.
And if you have to fight a future monarchy, who is going to be the army for the monarchy? The military.
Exactly.
So when the people
you have to have the ability to fight them.
Right. You have to have the ability to defend yourself against a military force. How are you going to do that with a black powder rifle?
Yeah. Better be a good shot.
And have a lot of them.
Yeah. And a lot of people reloading for you.
Yeah.
But anyway, the argument that I get on this, guys, because it's very easy to understand, but then people say, well, what about nuclear weapons? Well,
obviously they weren't around.
Yeah, well, and even then, I mean, it comes down to what individual can afford a nuclear weapon and a silo to keep it in.
Okay, but if
so
you go
it's
back,
not an issue.
Go back to the strongest weapon that they had at the time, a big cannon.
Yeah, and people had them.
Yeah, but you didn't see Farmer Joe in his backyard have a
I
big
disagree.
cannon.
Actually, a lot of them did.
Did they?
Yeah.
You really?
A lot of them did.
I don't remember seeing anything like that.
Yeah, a lot of them did. A lot of the townsfolk would use cannons to they
regular
used
military issue cannon.
Oh yeah.
Or something they took.
Well, no.
Or is it something they took from the British at one point and hid it in the barn?
Yeah,
that's
basically.
different.
Yeah.
I'm saying that nobody built a cannon in their backyard and brought it out to the field.
No, I'm sure somebody did.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody was crazy like
Probably,
me and
yeah.
just start putting stuff together.
Yeah.
Let's of course. I need to build a forge. I would love. Never mind. Off topic again. Today's guns or 1776 guns. Today's guns, guys. Very simple.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we need
Absolutely.
today's guns. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I'm fighting with a black powder rifle and you've got an M16, I'm obviously screwed.
I'm going to use that left argument right now. The Constitution is a living document. Well, in this instance, it's true. In this instance, it's true. Okay, it is a living document. Okay, military technology.
I wouldn't say it's a living document. I'm saying that the terminology comes through to today.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
This was written in such a way that it's vague to the point of it's going to move along with technology.
Yeah,
they didn't say that. They didn't say that we're necessary.
intent.
Yeah, it's not. We don't have the right to bear period arms. We have the right to bear arms.
Yeah,
whatever they may be of the period.
Yep. And guys, this also means with every right, there's a responsibility. Your responsibility is to, number one, own arms. Number two, know how to use them. And I would say that is just as important. If you're not trained, if you're not trained, if you don't understand the use of your arms, safe use of your arms, well, then your arms are worthless.
Yeah, if you own a rifle and you only know how to field strip it, just stay at home, because you need to know every single part, screw, pin and spring of that firearm.
Well, and on top of that, you need to
build one.
More importantly, you need to know safety.
Yeah.
And you need to know how to put lead on target. Yeah. I mean, guys.
Well, that starts out with childhood.
Well, yeah, but it's not. It doesn't take long to teach that. I mean, I can usually within a couple weeks have people semi-accurate. I mean, they're not going to be shooting 500 yards.
Not talking how to shoot. Not talking how to shoot. I'm talking how to safely handle a firearm responsibly. Yeah. Responsibility with firearms is the biggest thing I see lacking whenever I go to any shooting range whatsoever.
Oh,
I'll get muzzle swept at least twice, and I'll yell at the person for it too.
Yeah, so do I.
Because it's unbelievable how irresponsible people are. And it's really funny that people have no idea how to take apart their rifle at all. You know what? If you don't know how to use your rifle, take it all apart, go online and find the diagram or a YouTube video and put it all back together. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's this. As a matter of fact, you're going to be surprised how simple, stupid a firearm is to take apart and put it back together, because there's nothing to it.
Yeah, we're going to... She's going, Kara, I sent just Kara to go get something for me. we'll go
What I
ahead.
was saying was these firearms are just so simple, stupid that you
Well, yeah,
there's no excuse to be able to not take
and
it
that's
apart.
that's what I sent her to go get one of my pistols because we're going to show and show how easy this is. Well, it will be when I.
It would have been easier to ask me.
Oh, you have one on you? Good.
I never leave home.
Good.
But anyway,
good.
I have a
mine's
concealed
in my
carry
room
permit.
right now
I have a
because I'm
concealed
in
carry
my home.
permit, and I usually.
Well, that's another thing here. What,
I usually do. Today I have a knife though.
let's talk. Let's talk. Yeah, I always have a knife on me,
Yeah.
but let's talk about the concealed carry permit while she does that.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. We'll get to that in a minute. Let me show you guys. Very simple. Yes, this one is loaded. So, very simple. Know how to field strip your weapon. And this one, I don't have a screwdriver on me. But this one will break down in
It's
5
simple.
minutes. It's that easy. You saw me do it.
Know
Okay?
how to do it.
There's nothing hard with this. Know your weapon. This one is actually a military weapon, and they're dirt cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So, get them, learn them, know how to use them, know how to put lead on target. And for God's sake, if you don't have kids, keep them loaded. So, obviously, keep them out of reach of children, but an unloaded weapon is a useless weapon. So,
Nobody that didn't shoot anybody.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, guys.
It didn't.
Well, let's look at it. Oh, hold on.
Oh, there's something in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's chambered. We'll put it right here and see if it shoots anybody.
Yeah. We're going to see if we can go through the entire show.
Yeah, it's going to sit right here,
Yeah.
guys, and we're going to see. We'll go through the entire show and see if it comes up off the table and shoots one of us.
You take this out of there, though.
Yeah, because I want to
Yeah.
use it. So, anyway, yeah, we're sitting here live on air with a live weapon.
With a dangerous.
And yes,
it's so dangerous.
Yes, we're
Is the safety on?
probably. Oh, the safety's on, so let's go ahead and take the
Okay,
safety
yeah.
off. Guys, I don't
All
suggest
right.
you do this. Keep your safety on if it's in your house, but
Yeah.
it's obviously pointed in a safe direction. And I'm breaking a glass.
Yeah, don't break the. That would look terrible. Yeah, if the thing broke the glass, no.
No. Okay. We are so off subject again. What the
Yeah.
heck are you doing to me?
This is the Second
This is
Amendment. This is the Second Amendment.
Second Amendment.
Yeah, this is
And
the
we're,
argument that
we're already
guns
into
kill
the
people.
second hour
Guns
here.
kill people.
Guns kill people?
Yes.
It hasn't killed me yet.
No, I'm fine.
Are you sure it kills people?
That's what I've heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they
Because I
tell
always
me.
thought it was the guy behind the gun that did the killing.
Yeah, that's what I
Itchy
thought.
nose for some reason. I'm sure you guys like to see me scratch my nose. Isn't that nice? Okay.
Carrie, you alive over there too?
Kara is just laughing at how unprofessional Matt is being.
You know
But
what?
you're
It's
alive
fine.
though. This thing
We're
has not
having-
killed anyone.
Yeah,
yet.
you're alive. We're saying
All
you're
right.
not.
Oh yes,
This-
I am very much alive.
This is
Okay.
a fun show.
We're
Okay,
showing
so
how the
let's.
Second Amendment will not hurt anyone.
Oh, that's true. It's
All right.
yeah. Okay, let's move on to the third.
The third. No soldier shall, in the time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in a time of war. That's
Okay.
important. But in a manner to be prescribed by law.
Okay. Now this is one that I can honestly say I can't think of any infringements on. Can you?
Not today.
Not today.
Well, no. I mean, well.
Well, I mean, it was written back in the day because because the British were forcing people to.
What about in Louisiana?
Oh, that's true. Well, they invaded their house, but they didn't stay in there.
They
stayed in
absolutely
the barracks.
did.
Did they?
Some of the abandoned places. That's what I've read.
I didn't know that.
They
And I
also
lived
went-
in
they
Louisiana
also-
for 2 years.
Well,
Wow.
it also says
That's bad. Should have known that.
Well, they also went door to door and confiscated
Well,
firearms.
yeah, I do know about that.
Yeah, but I believe I read that somewhere. I'd have to, you know what? I can look that up, but I might be wrong. If I'm wrong,
I'm
sue
going to
me.
say don't worry about that for now because
Right.
even at that, you know what?
That's a really little used
Yeah.
amendment.
Yeah.
And I mean we're not.
It's very important. Don't
It
get us
is.
wrong.
No, it is.
But it's not one that we want to spend a lot
And
of time on.
that just makes sure that the military respects individuals' property rights.
We do need to get it a posse comitatus if we have time.
Well, that's what that links to.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Right.
So, and if you don't know, guys, posse comitatus says that The U.S. military cannot do police actions here on U.S. soil.
Gee, never heard that violated.
Oh no, never.
You know what? Speaking
I
of
did hear
violations, I'm not getting off topic. I'm going to talk about the video that we showed before the show went on. And did any of those charges against the king sound familiar?
Oh God.
Any of those?
Well, that's kind of why.
Wow.
That's kind of why I wanted to play the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because
they listed
we've
the charges.
passed what King George did. King
Right.
George was a pussycat compared to our federal government today.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Not in all the ways. I mean, there are a few that he hasn't done yet, but that haven't happened yet. But
I just want to know this.
yeah, they weren't talking about Obama in that film.
No.
They were talking about King George.
Although I can see why people would get
King George,
confused.
yes.
Yes. Okay. So I will say this. I mean, and just a quick question: can we admit that we live in a banana republic yet? Just want to throw that out there. Okay. Go ahead. Let's go on with the Fourth Amendment.
Article.
This one is very important.
The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
Okay, this is what I was talking about with probable cause before, guys.
Yeah. And this one's the most misconstrued of all of
them. Oh my God!
At this time.
Yeah. And this
Except
goes,
for the
I mean,
Second Amendment.
every single show on TV. One of the reasons I stopped watching TV because it just irritated me to no end. You know, yeah, I smell something. That's probable cause. We're going in. No, that's probable cause to go get a warrant.
Right.
There's no such thing as probable cause and you go in. No, it doesn't work like that. You don't go in without a warrant. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
If you see through the window that somebody's being shot.
Okay, yeah.
That's different.
That's different. Even you or
You're protecting life.
Yeah, you're protecting life. But
and that's why they misconstrue that.
Yeah.
They say it's the same thing. It's not.
It's not. It's not.
smell
You have to have
something,
a
you
warrant.
time.
You have a warrant.
Right.
Okay? And a probable cause gets you the warrant. Probable cause does not get you forced entry. Last time I talked, last time I looked, that was considered a B&E.
Are they called knock and talks now?
Well,
they
no.
call them knock and talks.
Well, knock and talks, yeah, that's a whole nother subject.
Well,
we'll get there in a
so
second.
They don't call it breaking and entering.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about when they say, "Oh, I've got probable cause," and they kick your door in.
Yeah,
that's breaking and entering.
All right,
that's B&E. That's a jailable offense. If you're home, that's home invasion and that's a felony. But if the cops do it, well, they had probable cause.
And the scariest thing about that, and this is for the police too. I mean, keep in mind that
you kick my door and you're probably going to get shot.
Well, that's the thing. That's a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
And especially in Florida, where everybody has some sort of firearm or weapon that they could.
Well, not everybody, but most.
Many.
Most.
That you know of. I mean, there's a lot of people, because there actually is no gun registration in Florida. I'm
Thank
sure
God.
the numbers are a lot higher than they think they are.
Oh, and I should hope so. I really do.
Did you ever see the new Red Dawn?
Yeah, I did. I still like the old one better.
Well, but he's going through the Marine is going through the states of what's going on. No. This actually ties in. It's funny. The Marine is actually going through the states what's going on right at the time, and he said Florida's just an all-out firefight.
Yeah,
and that's probably true.
Yeah, well, Florida, and I would say, probably half of Texas. Texas, believe it or not, I'm really surprised at. Oh, I'm not really.
Well, they have
surprised.
no open carry either.
No,
almost every state has open carry.
Yeah, Florida and Texas are 2 of 5 states that don't have open carry laws, which is absolutely
really
ridiculous.
Weird. Yeah, you wouldn't think Texas.
We gotta,
home of the hip holster would really be a place.
We gotta fix this here in Florida. We gotta get open carry here in Florida.
Right. Even I mean, you don't have to carry open.
No, but. Here's what it comes down to, and I know we're going backwards here. I understand. Hey guys, no teleprompter. So when you go with a permit, which I'm all for getting the permit now, because basically cops leave you alone at that point too, because they know you've been checked out, and it's all well and good. That's fine. That's to carry concealed, but you have a constitutional right to carry open, and you know what? Free people carry their arms in the open. Slaves have to hide them, and criminals have to hide them.
And it also creates a mindset.
Oh, that's right. An armed society is a polite society.
Well, no, the mindset of making people carry concealed is that you're concealing it.
It's dirty. Yeah. You shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't be doing it. So you're already putting the mindset in people's minds that it's not a good thing for you to carry.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part.
That is the worst part of it. That absolutely is the worst part of it. It makes it seem like, and really what it is it turns a right into a privilege. Because at that point, now suddenly...
A dirty privilege.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because now I've got to go get permission from the state to take advantage of my Second Amendment right.
It's like saying you need a permit to protest.
Yeah. This is why I like Vermont's law. In Vermont, guys, they're quite free about it. You strap it on the hip, you're not allowed to hide it. There is no concealed carry permit. You're not allowed to hide it. You hide it, you're going to jail. And that's kind of... I kind of think that might be the way it should go. But that's just me. We can debate that. I'm open for debate. But when you want to carry a gun, even if you're from out of state in Vermont, you strap it on your hip and you walk down the street and you're fine. And that's the way it should be. That's the Second Amendment. That's the spirit of the Second Amendment. I'm a free individual and I have the right to carry arms because you know what? You may be bigger than me, but I've got the equalizer. And you know what? When it comes down to it, you'll have a whole lot less fights then too, because people like to think of the Old West as this, everybody had a gun, everybody, shot each other, and that's not how it was. If you actually look at the history of it, look at the history of the crime statistics. I mean, crime was almost non-existent back then. Of course, it's glorified in the westerns because it's all they talk about. But in the Old West, when everybody wore a gun on their hip, nobody messed with you.
Right.
Because, you do something stupid, you're going to get shot. And that's what I mean by an armed society is a polite society. It's absolutely true. I'm going to be polite. I'm going to tip my hat to the lady because her husband might shoot me if I'm disrespectful. And, it might sound crazy to some people, but it's true. Everybody's held to the same standard at that point. And you know what? If you pull your gun and you're out of line, well, then there's 100 other people around me that are going to stand up for me too. So you're not going to get shot for no reason either. So with that said, we're on the Fourth Amendment. You already read it, and I went completely off topic yet again. I'm doing horrible
you
today.
Covered it. I mean, it's simple. You covered it.
Somewhat.
Right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to be searched without your consent.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, guys, here's what I wanted to say about that. And I know I'm all over the map, and I guess it's okay.
You didn't post a schedule or anything, right?
No, well, I know, but fine. I wanted to keep it somewhat, but it's okay. We're not we're having fun, and we're talking about important stuff here, and things come up. So when it comes down to it, guys, when you get pulled over and the cop walks up and says, "Hey, you mind if I search your car?" I don't know how many people I know go, well, I've got nothing to hide. Well, then why the hell do you have a bathroom door? It's not about having, who cares if you're doing anything illegal? I don't do anything illegal either. But I'm not about to let a cop search my car. Because it's my right to privacy. You can't have liberty without privacy. If people can just walk up, if cops can just walk up and search your car for no reason, then you live in a police state. You don't live under the Constitution. You have no rights at that point. Your rights are what the cops say.
Here's a blatant violation. It's the Texas trooper that conducted a roadside cavity search on 2 women.
Okay.
And apparently didn't change gloves either, but that's besides the
like
point.
South Park.
This is in Texas. And got them out of the car. It's all on tape too. It's all taped and everything. You can look up the You can look up the video if you want. You have me up there now.
Yeah,
okay. Let me go to the headline. Here we go. And this is the more recent one. The trooper that did that is reinstated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you look in. Well, you said that one's in Texas,
That's
right?
in Texas. Yeah, there's actually a few of those in Texas.
Texas and New Mexico are just going crazy with this. Yeah. I mean, full body searches, full body cavity searches. Guys, if that's not in a violation of the Fourth Amendment, I don't know what the hell is. I mean, good Lord. If you don't have the right to mandate that the cop has to have a warrant before they stick something inside your body, what the heck? And now you got cops get on the side of the road pulling you over and saying, oh, by the way, we want to take your blood. No reason. We just want to take your blood. We want your DNA. There's a reason we have a Fourth Amendment. You don't have the right to do that. You don't get to treat me like a criminal. I'm innocent until proven guilty, and I'm not giving you my DNA. I'm not giving you my blood. I'm not giving you my saliva. I'm not giving you a damn thing because you've got no reason to look for it. Doesn't mean I did anything wrong. It means you've got no reason to look for it. You know?
Yeah, and this happened. Where was this? New Mexico. Yeah, this was the New Mexico one where the.
Yeah, the guy got like 8 times, or that's
no,
the woman.
No, yeah, this is the woman.
Yeah, put this on screen, Kara. Thank you.
This is shocking. This one. This
is the one where they decided to punish her.
This is what happens when you say no to a search in New Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, they sprayed a woman's vagina with mace.
Yeah, to punish her for saying no, and they didn't have medical staff go and check if she actually had anything, and even if she had something, they didn't check or anything like that. Even if she had something, they did this. This is.
Let me ask you, because I never got a chance to read that whole article.
Yeah,
and it really doesn't matter, other than the amount of pain that the poor woman was in. Was it chemical mace or was it pepper mace? Is it pepper spray or actual mace?
I think the cops can carry chemical.
Yeah, I know they can.
Citizens can't.
Is that what they sprayed her with?
Citizens can't.
Yeah, I know they outlawed actual mace.
It says mace.
Well, yeah, I hope for her sake that it was actual pepper spray and not mace. Because let me just tell you, I've been hit with mace, not because I did anything stupid, guys. It was a job I had to.
I'm
pretty
sure they don't carry
but
pepper spray.
Yeah, let me just tell you that chemical mace.
Oh, you breathe that and you're choking for hours.
Oh my
God,
dude, that was one of the worst. I had to get tasered for the same thing because when you carry a taser,
you have to get
you have to get tased because they want you to. And I agree with this. They want you to know what you're putting the other person through. I fully agree. I would rather get tased than sprayed with that mace. That was horrible. I had a small canister of it one time go off in my pocket. Didn't get to any sensitive areas. Actually went down the side of my leg, and that was absolutely horrendous. Mm-hmm. I mean, it took. I had to be in the shower. I was standing in the shower. Yeah, I was in the shower trying to wash it off my skin for like an hour. It was horrible.
Yeah, you don't even have to be sprayed with it. You just have to breathe.
Yeah, if the wind blows it back at you, oh my God. So, and this isn't even really the Fourth Amendment. This is just police brutality.
It is. I mean, she was saying no to a search.
That's why they did it. But I'm saying
that's why they did it.
This is just plain police brutality.
Oh, absolutely.
And, that's just those police need to be buried under the jail. So anyway, that's the Fourth Amendment. We're going to go on. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free. I know we're moving kind of quick here, but we're already an hour and a half into the show, and I don't know where the heck it's gone. So go ahead and move on to the fifth.
You got quite a few.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Fifth Amendment. That's pretty simple.
Yeah, go ahead.
No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment of indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor...
It's a long one.
Yeah, this one's a long, yeah. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
Okay.
Oh, that's been violated.
Oh, God, many times.
Oh,
but Fifth Amendment, guys, where this really impacts you is have to deal again with the police. And I don't want to harp on the police. Like, I don't want to sound like all the police are bad, because they're not. Again, it's a small minority of police that have really become bad. But when it comes down to it, it's the old adage: one bad apple ruins the bunch, and it's the truth. One bad apple, one bad cop in your precinct is enough to cause hell for everybody. So when you deal with the police, number one, like I said, if at all possible, start recording. Number two, don't answer his questions. The only thing that I will say to a cop is, am I being detained? I will ask that, and I will ask that, and I will ask that until either he tells me yes or no, or I get irritated and I just walk away. And at that point, I find out. If he lets me walk away, then he doesn't feel like he's got enough to keep me. And if he doesn't, well, then you know what happens. Luckily, most of the time, he just goes, well, he's a fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. So, which is fine. You can think what you want. I'm not going to jail unless I absolutely have to. So don't answer their questions. And this, any good lawyer will tell you the same thing, because, you have the right to remain silent. And the rest of it is, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
It protects you against self-incrimination.
Yeah. What's really important here is anything you say can and will be used against you. Nothing you say will be used to protect you. That's not the cop's job at that point. That's not the prosecution's job. The
prosecution has the burden of proof.
That's right.
Right.
So anything you say, if it helps your case, will be thrown out. And if it doesn't help your case, well, they're going to use it. And guys, in the heat of the moment, whether you're in the right or whether you're in the wrong, your best bet is just keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them if you're being detained. If you're not being detained, then walk away.
Unless it's obvious, then you don't really need to ask.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're putting you in, if you're putting you in cuffs, then you're obviously being detained. Yeah. At that point, if they're smart, they're reading your Miranda rights as well.
Like when you go through one of the checkpoints, the illegal checkpoints that they have, the ones where they're just trying to create revenue. Looking for drugs, looking for drunks. Yeah. I mean, these are all pull up, ask if you're being detained, and ask if you can leave, because they're not going to say, they can't say they're detaining you, because there's no reason to detain you.
Yep.
So they have to have reason to detain you. So ask if you're being detained.
And here's the other thing,
and
guys.
Then you ask them if you can leave. Then
here's the funny thing, guys.
And record it.
If you're recording this, and this will drive a prosecutor nuts if he hears this. If they tell you you're not being detained, and you go to walk away and they stop you, that's false arrest. If they tell you that you are being detained and they don't have good reason, that's false arrest.
You can ask them the reason they're detaining you. If they say yes, ask them why.
You don't. You can't just be arrested for no reason. You can't be held for no reason. It's false arrest, and not at that point you can. It's a lawsuit against both the person, the cop himself, and the department.
Oh yes.
Now I'm not a litigious person. Okay, I don't like lawsuits. I'm not going to go sue for no reason. If I can get out of it without a lawsuit, I'm going to. Because it's going to cost me money in the long run, and really, even if I win and I get money, it's coming from the taxpayers, and it's not
hurting that person.
Yeah, it's not really, but it sends a message. So if you've got to do it, do it.
Well, if you sue the department, if you sue them personally,
personally,
right, you can bring them to civil court and sue them personally.
Yeah, but then it's on you to collect. But so chances are you won't get anything, is what I'm saying.
No, but that has to be done.
It sends a statement, right. And if you're if it comes down to it, then by all means sue. Now, suing the department, what that'll do, if it is a bad cop, and hopefully, and in most cases, the rest of the department they're good cops, and hopefully you don't have a corrupt police force, police chief, and at that point, the bad cop will lose his job. Mm-hmm. Okay, again, this is all about not demonizing police, but getting rid of the bad ones. And if we can do that, well, then we're in good shape. So if, bringing a lawsuit is not necessarily bad to the police department, if it gets rid of the bad apples, then it's done its job. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Kara, would you agree with that?
Do you concur?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Kara's kind of shy today. I'm kind of surprised. I was expecting to have to shoo her away from the microphone a little bit. But, here she goes.
I was told not to turn on the mic unless I was spoken
Well,
to.
no, I didn't say that. I said don't turn it on too much because it clicks and it's kind of annoying.
I'm trying to be courteous.
Well, that's all good. I see you in the chat too. That's good. So, yeah, behind the scenes, guys, total transparency.
And yeah, it would be nice if if your Miranda rights aren't read and it's automatically thrown out, but that
doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
They're pretty good at that.
Yeah, they're not going to throw the case out immediately for something.
Although if you get a cop that's
they
stupid
are
enough,
supposed to.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to number 6 because
Another long one. Here we go.
Okay.
In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against them, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense.
All right.
Right to a speedy trial. And
Absolutely.
counsel, and right to an attorney.
Jury trial. Guys, we said we'd get to jury nullification. We're here. This is where, again, this is the main reason. Oh, look at that. I'm even kind of having to move this gun around, and it's not shooting anybody.
It hasn't.
Yeah.
It's not even making any menacing noises or anything.
No,
nothing.
Okay, back to topic.
Anyway.
This is why I pushed this one. This one actually gets into jury nullification, your rights, responsibilities. Guys, if you're called, I know nobody likes it, but if you're called to jury duty, go. Do it. It's not just a responsibility. That's one way you can stand up for the republic. And yes, I said republic, not democracy, but I won't get off on that kick. All right. The jury actually has the right and the responsibility to judge not only the defendant, not only the facts of the case, but the law itself. The jury has every right to say, you know what? He did it. We know he did it. He's guilty, but we think the law is wrong, and therefore we're going to declare him not guilty. It's called jurisprudence. It's called jury nullification. It's the last stand good people have to stand up against corrupt laws and lawmakers. So, unfortunately, I've actually never been in a courtroom as a juror. I've been called several times, but they never.
Twice.
You know, they give you that number. My number never comes up, so I never even have to go in. It's weird. But you've been a juror?
Yeah, twice.
Okay.
Extremely boring process.
Oh, I'm sure. God,
Incredibly boring process. And unfortunately, the cases were such that the really nullification didn't really come up.
Okay.
And but it's interesting once you're picked as a juror. Some of the cases really get drawn out. Unfortunately, mine did. They both went overtime, and one of them I think they let out at 11 o'clock at night on the one.
Oh God!
And then 9 o'clock at night on the other one. So I spent from what is it, 8 a.m. You got to be there.
Yeah.
Till like 11 p.m.
See,
that was a marathon at that point. They didn't feed us or anything, and I never did get my check from either one of them.
Your whole $15 a day.
You're supposed to get $15 a day, and I didn't get a check from either of them. So
yeah, well, that's nice.
Yeah,
Isn't that
I wasn't
nice?
expecting one.
Yeah, well, guys, even so, like I said, you really need to. If you get called, I always call. I've never even had to go in because they give you that number, and if your number's between this and that, well, I'm always outside that. Don't know why. But I'm not complaining, but if I was called, I would obviously go. Now, here's the key. If you know what you're doing, if you understand the concept, which we don't have time to get really deep into, but just do a little research, get the book. Understand. If you truly understand jury nullification, then what you have to do is you almost have to be covert, unfortunately, because what's going to happen is your other jurors are going to think, well, they're going to cause a problem because they're not going with the judge. They're not supposed to do that. Well, you kind of have to feel out the other jurors. You have to be careful what you say, because what they'll do is they'll kick you off and bring in one of their reserve jurors. Or jurors. Forget my English here. Yeah. So they'll kick you out and they'll bring in somebody that'll go with the system. So when you do this, if you do this, please do if you're, again, obviously, if somebody murdered somebody, obviously they need to go to jail. But if so, if it's a
nullify something like
if you can't nullify, you can't nullify good law. This is bad law we're talking
That's
about.
violent crime. You cannot nullify violent crime.
But if you find that there's just cause, let's say it's somebody, let's say it's somebody that is protesting the Federal Reserve and protesting the IRS and taxes. First of all, hats off to them, because quite honestly, this is one thing I have not had the cojones to do yet. I may at one point do it. But let's say they stop paying their taxes. And you understand that the tax system is illegal and they have no legal obligation to pay. That would be a case for jury nullification. If you do so, you're going to come up against some heat. But if you've got the cojones, it only takes one to hang a jury.
The unfortunate truth of it is that your employer most likely pays the taxes already for you.
Well, yeah, but there's ways around that.
Yeah.
But we won't get into that.
Right.
So
if you don't file your tax return, all you're going to get is no tax return check.
Yeah, they're not going to go after you for giving them more money. So actually, they might. I've heard of them doing that before, just to throw people in jail, and that comes back in. That comes back to the idea of privately owned prisons and stuff, and that's a little outside the scope of this show.
Population.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Yeah, prisons are mostly private now, guys, but we'll talk about that another show. Let's move on. What are we on? That
7.
was 7. Wow, we're moving along pretty good. That's a good thing.
In suits at common law, where the value in the controversy shall exceed $20, the right of a trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. So basically, anything over the price of a pack of cigarettes, you're entitled to a jury.
Yeah, well,
how much for cigarettes?
Are
they quite $20?
No. I think they're around $5.
Maybe in New York.
Yeah. Well, no. Anything over $20, you have the right to a jury. Now, guys, if it's something stupid, now it's one thing if it's a lawsuit, one person to another. Like I said, I'm not litigious, so we'll. But you have any time you're up for a crime, taxes or anything, it's going to be over $20. Right. Yeah. So you have the right to a jury, and you should call for a jury trial. Never, because they'll push, they'll try to get you. Just let the judge decide.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
Always go for a jury trial. Always. Never let them get the easy way out, because if a judge has to decide, it's really easy to throw you under the bus. If you got 12 people up there, you have a much better chance of getting a real verdict. So let's move on. That's a pretty easy one.
Yep.
Number 8.
Yeah, 8.
8.
Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Pretty cut and dry. And I really don't see, obviously bail, back then bail's going to be a lot less because inflation and so this really isn't one we have to talk about much. You're protected against cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah. Cruel and unusual punishment is debatable on a death penalty.
I'd say that Mace story is pretty cruel and unusual.
Oh, absolutely. But again, that wasn't done by the court. That was done by some cops that need to be buried under the jail.
So I think it might expand to that.
It might. But I think
it doesn't say just in court.
No, but I think you kind of have to go by what the spirit of the law.
Yeah.
So.
That should be a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
someone in the private parts to
exactly.
Submit.
And I think that falls under assault.
Yeah.
Assault,
definitely,
and battery, and
absolutely.
So let's move on to 9. This is a great one.
The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
And I should have looked this up, guys, beforehand. No. I'm looking for Article 1, Section 8.
There it
And
is.
my fingers, oh, look at that.
Article 1, 7,
Section
8.
Section 8. So here we go.
Keep that page, though. There you go.
You want to switch?
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're going to switch.
Okay. Lose it, then.
On the fly. Here we go. All right, and Article 1.
There we go.
And I can't see. Okay, there we go. The Congress shall, this is, again, guys, this is the enumerated powers. All right, instead of reading the whole thing, I'm just going to read the powers. All right, to borrow money on credit of the United States, to regulate That's
that one always gets me.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. That
okay,
gets me every
we'll get there.
time.
We'll get there. To regulate commerce with foreign nationals or nations. What the heck am I thinking? Quit laughing at me over there.
No, I think it's what you're reading. It's not how you're reading. It's
Okay.
No, that was definitely how he's reading.
Okay. Never mind.
To regulate commerce with foreign nations. Almost did it again. And among the several states. Now, this is the one that gets us, okay? But the reason is that they bring it way outside of what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Okay. To establish a uniform rule of the naturalization and uniform laws on the subjects of bankruptcies throughout the United States. Okay. To coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of weight and measures. Okay? So in other words, we're not seeing a whole lot here, guys. To provide for punishment of the counterfeiting and securities. I can't see. And security. See, I'm having when Ricky is here, he's the blind one. I guess I've taken that role. Okay. To provide for punishment of of counterfeiting the securities and the current coin of the United States, to establish post offices and post roads, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times the authors and investigators the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. So in other words, copyright, intellectual right, things like that. To constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. Sorry guys, I'm having a real hard time seeing for some reason. To define and punish piracies. Who's saying what?
Not sure if it's Ricky or Lisa. Probably Lisa. I'm sorry, Richard. I'm sorry, Richard. But it says, Chris, what do you think about that?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I figured that one was Lisa. All right. Now, where was I? He got me off topic again, and I lost my place because I can't see. What the heck is going on with my eyes? Too much of this unknown yellow beverage. To define and publish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations. To declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and rules of concerning captures and land and water on land and water. To raise and support armies, but no, this is important, no appropriation of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years. That's a big one. Okay. Anyway, Mountain Dew? No, it's not. It's not Mountain Dew. Okay. Keep guessing. No, don't. No. To provide and maintain a navy. That one's pretty easy. To make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces. Okay? To provide for calling forth the militia. We talked about that earlier. calling forth the militia and execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repeal invasions. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia. In other words, they don't run it,
We talked
but
about
they
that
help
a
it.
couple weeks ago too. Yeah,
Yep.
same thing. And you got to harp on it because it's so important.
Yep. And for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States. In other words, defending the United States, guys. Again, it's posse comitatus. The military can't do that. So that's our job. Let me find my place again because I screwed myself up. Okay. Reserving to the states, respectively, an appointment of the officers. So the states can appoint the officers, not the federal government. And the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. So in other words, the states have more control, but not true control over the militia. But the federal government helps to train. So in other words, they have to help with money because it's common defense. All right, to exercise exclusive legislation on all cases whatsoever over the district not extending 10 miles squared. That's kind of important. As may by secession. I can't read that. I cannot see the hyphen, guys. The hyphens. What's it say? Secession. Thank you. That's what I thought it said. But for some reason, it wasn't working right. Of particular states and acceptance of Congress become the seat of the government. My eyes are really screwing up. Read the rest of that. I cannot read it today.
You have to overlook Matt. He's slightly dyslexic.
I am very dyslexic. That's my main problem.
And the acceptance of Congress become the seat of the government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings. And, it's actually emphasized, to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in a government of the United States, in the government of the United States, or in any department or office thereof.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry to put you through that because I am very dyslexic, and for some reason I can't see very well today.
It's hard to memorize. It's hard to memorize all that too. No. In your defense, that is, it's small type and it's.
Yeah, if you guys saw it, it was.
Yeah.
Can you guys read that? So, anyway,
go through it so you don't have to read it on the fly and.
Yeah. So, but here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. The reason that we went through that torturous little bit there is to show you that we just read off every single power granted to the federal government. And we just read the 9th Amendment. And go ahead and read the 10th real quick because that goes hand in hand with the 9th.
Back to the Bill of Rights then.
Yeah, back to the Bill of Rights.
Okay. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people.
Okay. So the reason I had him show that because, like, as you can hear,
that's easy.
It's hand in hand with the 9th Amendment.
Here's
Basically,
the
here's how it goes. We read the enumeration of powers. That is the totality of the power of the federal government. This is where you've heard me say before that 90% of what the federal government does is illegal. That's why if it's not listed in Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, they do not have the power to do it.
Right.
End of story. No argument. Now,
and if it's not listed there, the state or the people have that power.
Yeah, if it's not listed there, then it goes to the state. The state has its own constitution. If the state's constitution does not allow for the state to do it, well, then it goes to the people.
And that goes for abortion, marriage, any kind of civil rights like that. 90% of what they're doing.
This is why, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm very pro-life. And I have my own reasons for that, and it's not enough time to go through that. because that's a very extensive issue. But I don't advocate the federal government banning abortion, even though I'm very anti-abortion. The federal government doesn't have the power to ban abortion. Federal government can then hand it off to the states, and the states can then see through their own constitutions whether they have the right to do so, or whether their people want it to happen. It is a state issue. It is not a federal issue. Okay? When it comes down to it, I don't think I read in there, and I don't think the small part that you read in there said anything about adopting a central bank either, did it?
No.
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 It probably wouldn't either.
No. I didn't see. I didn't hear anything about taxing individuals either. Did you?
No.
No. No. This is
funny how that happened.
Yeah, it's funny how that happened. The federal government has almost no power, and it's meant to have almost no power, guys.
That's the point.
That's the point of the Constitution.
Why we're different.
This whole book is meant to restrict the federal government, not empower the federal government. It is a list of powers that the federal government has.
We talked about their rights. Now it's the responsibility of every citizen to read that and understand it.
That's exactly right. Read it and understand it, because the federal government does not have power over you. If the federal government followed this book, you would have absolutely no day-to-day interaction with the federal government whatsoever. You should not feel the actions of the federal government. In January, when the federal government goes dark again, well, not really, but when they do the government shutdown, you probably won't feel it anyway, because
and the roads evaporate and the parks, all cave in on themselves.
Oh, yeah. You shouldn't care. You shouldn't care, because the federal government doesn't affect you directly. Has no effect on you directly if it was a constitutional government.
I'm sorry, if you are a citizen and you haven't read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and you don't deserve to call yourself a citizen, because it is your.
You can be a citizen, but you shouldn't be voting.
No, it's your responsibility to read that. I don't.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be voting.
Voting aside, you should not. You have to read those things. It is your responsibility to inform yourself.
I agree.
Absolutely. This is the minimum information you need to read to be an effective citizen.
That's right.
Minimum. Bare minimum. You don't have to read history books. Read how many pages? 60 pages.
And that's not even the Constitution. That's everything. That's Declaration of Independence. That's a bunch on jurisprudence and
these aren't full-size pages. These are half pages. So you're talking 30 pages of a normal-sized book, the bare minimum.
Yep.
And it's unbelievable that I guarantee you we could go down to Fort Myers right now. Have you read the? No.
No.
99%?
99.9. I know a few people watching today, and I know a few of them have read it.
Okay, but they're watching here.
They're watching here. They're informing themselves.
Right.
Guys, the important part here is, number one, you don't just watch and enjoy. You watch. You get others to watch, so that and you also inform them yourselves as well, because we can't do it all. So you get them to watch, we'll inform them, you inform them. Before you know it, this spreads.
Right.
Not just the show, because quite honestly, I could care less.
I can't tell you how many people I've seen repost what the Fox says, and they can't just post a link to something informative.
Yeah, well.
I mean, come on.
And I'm sorry, guys, but Fox News is really not much better than any others.
I'm not talking Fox News. I'm talking about the music video.
Oh, I don't even know. I've seen that, but I don't know what. I've never clicked on it because, quite honestly, I didn't care, so silly. I don't know what it's about.
It's silly.
Yeah, that's my problem. Stupid things I could care less about, and then I have a hard time communicating with people because I look at things that matter, and they.
I really don't care if you had a bacon cheeseburger for lunch. I don't care about the picture of it. Post something of substance.
Well. But then again, Facebook is also meant for silliness as well, and I'll post something silly every once in a while.
And that's fine, but don't make that your life.
You know what?
Bare minimum.
Here's what it comes down to, guys. You can read this in an hour. I'm dyslexic as hell, as you guys know, because you just heard me read. It's quite horrible, because I have to read slow because I'm very dyslexic. I have to look at every single word 2 or 3 times and make sure I'm seeing it right. And I can read this in a half hour. What was that? That's how you know there's no teleprompters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just threw the book at her.
That book is more dangerous. That's an assault constitution.
Yeah, that's right. So,
You terrorist, only you can make the Constitution an assault weapon.
It's the assault weapon.
Well, it's the assault.
It's the assault weapon.
But anyway,
against
my point is here:
government.
how many people do you know that can sit there? And you know what? I like football. I watched the Steelers game, and unfortunately, Thursday night, I'm watching the Steelers game, and unfortunately, they lost. I'm sorry, I'm a Pittsburgh fan. But I don't know how many people I know that can rattle off sports statistics from 20 years ago.
I know
they're
stats.
Incredibly intelligent people, but yet they absolutely know nothing about something that makes a difference. Yeah, they can tell they can tell what the wide receiver of the 49ers did 20 years ago on this date. They know it right off the top of their head. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little, but you get the point. But they don't know how many people sit on the Supreme Court.
Right.
They don't know how many justices sit on the Supreme Court. They don't know how many senators we have. 2 for each state. How hard is that to figure out?
It's easy to remember.
But they don't know.
Unless you listen to Obama, he's went to 57 states. I think.
Well, this is part of my point.
He's got like 3 more to go. I think. Though.
Even our president doesn't know how many states. It's frustrating to no end. I don't understand how people can be so stupid. And I got yelled at last week. And Lisa, if you're listening, yeah, I know. I'm not calling people stupid. I'm saying they're being stupid. See, I'm being nicer. I'm trying. But they irritate me. They really do. They irritate me. Because how can you know so much about football? I mean...
It takes longer to memorize all that than it could...
Well, not only that, it's bread and circus.
Yeah.
It's bread and circus. And if you don't know what that is, that goes back to ancient Rome. Okay, the Caesar figured out that if you gave people bread so they could eat, and you gave them circus, the gladiators and things of that nature, it would keep them happy. The mob would be entertained and they wouldn't rise up. But if you took one away, all hell broke loose. Go ahead.
I do have something to interject here. I actually know somebody who can rattle off sports statistics from 20 years ago, and he's only 22, that thinks that The Purge, if you've ever seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. The Purge would be good to happen in the United States. It would be progressive for our country.
I didn't really care to get it. I saw that movie. Sad to say. And I don't understand how anybody could like that movie. That was a really stupid movie. But if you liked it, I'm sorry. But that was a stupid movie.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, don't bother. It was really stupid. But the whole premise is that now, America basically has what they actually say the new founders. They actually call them the new founders. If that's not a giveaway.
The new founding fathers.
Yeah, the new founding fathers, what they call them. And the whole premise is that one day out of the year they suspend all law and anything goes.
Right.
Yeah,
let's see what happens.
Yeah. And the whole movie is basically death and destruction, and there's really not a cohesive plot line to it. It's kind of like Saw, if you've ever seen it, which I really don't understand how people could watch that. It's just, there's no plot. It's just gore. Which, you know what, if gore goes along with the plot line and it helps, that's fine. I'm not one of those people that just, oh, there's blood. No. If you know me, you know better than that. But, I'm not one to sit there and watch just mindless gore. And that's all this movie was mindless violence. Which, I like a good violent flick. I love war flicks. I love that, Armageddon Now, great movie. Platoon, great movie. They had a plot line, Apocalypse. Yeah, that's what I meant, Apocalypse Now. Old movies, guys, give me a break. So anyway, great movies. But they had a plot line. There was a reason for the violence, and that's, but just mindless stupidity and violence. Give me a break. There's no reason for it. Right. But that's, and thank you for getting me off into this, because that really just told... People can just get me off subject so easily. We just did 10. We don't have time to go any further. It's 3:00 now.
We only have
That was number 10. That's the end of the Bill of Rights. Now there's 26.
Yeah.
27, sorry.
Yeah, we're
27.
not going to go through them all.
We're not going to go through them all. Because most of them, you got prohibition, and then they took away prohibition, and that's a whole other subject altogether, because that's when the drug war started. And y'all, if you've been watching, you've seen me and Chris and Ricky go at it on the drug war, and I think it's hilarious to watch. So if you haven't seen that, then go back and look at I'll have to look it up, and I'll post it, because that'll really irritate them, because it was funny. But I love you, Chris and Ricky. They're not here. They'll be back next week. Guys, again, I want to let you know, before we take off for the day, because it is 3 o'clock and it actually worked out fairly good. Be around for the 14th. I know a couple of you are going down with me on the 14th. I think most likely Brian will be down there with me. Chris and Ricky will be here. I'm gonna be down there broadcasting live to here. We're gonna Skype in with my phone. They're gonna be broadcasting here, obviously. And if you want to be on the show, come down. If you want to get involved, come down. Bring something, guys. Try to bring something. Get involved. The government's not supposed to take care of people. We read that. Did it say anything about welfare? Did it say anything about government being charity? No?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, not
I
that.
I didn't.
I've never heard that either. And,
I'll read through it again just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it didn't say it.
I'm 99.9.
Yeah.
I'm 100%
Yeah,
sure.
no,
Guys,
I'm
the
absolutely
government,
sure.
Yeah, the government is not supposed to be a charity, and there's a reason for that.
And how they can pull that out of here and with a straight face blows my mind.
I know, but there's a reason the government's not supposed to be a charity. And guys, I'm all for charity, obviously. I'm pushing a charitable act.
That's charity.
That's charity.
That's not
when
welfare.
you do it, it's charity. When the government makes you do it through taxation and redistribution, that's theft. And when people figure out that they can vote for the guy who's going to take the most amount of money from people that actually work and give it to people that are lazy, that's the guy who's going to get into office every single time. That's how Rome fell. Believe it or not, that's even how Nazi Germany fell. Ultimately. Okay? That's even... Every single country falls because they go socialistic. Because there is no way, once you start giving free stuff with people not having to work, that's the ultimate end of the country. We're there, guys. We've got to get rid of this. We've got to start taking care of the needy people as a society. Not relying on the government to do it, because that causes corruption and that causes the ultimate fall of the government, the ultimate fall of the nation.
Not even just taking care of the needy. Take care of yourself.
Well, yeah, take care of yourself, and then as you can, you help someone else. The people do a much better job. Just look at it. You actually look at welfare. For every for every dollar we spend, I think like 40 cents of it, or even less than 40 cents, actually goes to. I think it's almost down to 10 cents of every dollar actually goes to someone who needs it. The vast majority, close to 90% of the welfare money actually goes to the bureaucracy and not the people that actually need it.
Right.
So we need to take care of the people in the community. Get back to a community mindset, guys. You want to retake this country? That's how you do it. You take care of your community. Get to know your neighbors. Get out there, help your neighbors. Your neighbors help you. Get to a community mindset. Damn the government, because they're worthless. They just get in the way. Just ignore them. Take care of yourself. Take care of your neighbors. Become a family, a community family where everybody knows everybody.
And if you do give to charity, make sure that it is a charity. Don't give to some commercialized quasi-charity.
Yeah, like Goodwill.
Yeah, that's not a charity.
That's not a charity.
For-profit organization.
That runs as a charity.
Right. 501c3 is pretty much a dead giveaway that it's not a charity.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, because a true charity, and this is something most people don't understand. A true charity is even by the IRS's own standards. If you go and you look through the tax code, you can actually go to the IRS website and just look in the frequently asked question. A true charity, just like a true church, is already tax exempt.
Right.
You don't need a 501c3.
It's all voluntary.
Yep, it's all voluntary. Yeah, well, so is the tax.
It's all voluntary.
Anyway.
It's mostly cash based.
Yep.
Or material based.
Yep.
And you can't tax that. It's
That's
not
right.
possible. You're not, unless you're keeping that on the books and you're taking checks. which if it's a true charity, you probably aren't. You know, you're taking clothing, you're taking, cash donations, and you have volunteers working for you, so there is no payroll.
So
that's a charity.
At any rate, guys, again, get back to community. Get to know your neighbors. Take care of each other, because that's ultimately what's going to save this country, is people taking care of people, not government getting involved. Government just gets in the way. So with that, I want to say one last thing. It didn't kill anybody.
I'm still here.
We're all still here. So now I will put the safety back on. I will put this away, put it back where it belongs. And you guys enjoy your weekend. Kara, take us out.